Hello, everyone, and welcome to KOP Fusion. We are here back and with another episode featuring Salil. Salil, how are you doing today?
Hi Param, I'm doing very well. To all the viewers, wishing you a very happy Dashera wherever you are around the world, to all the Reds. And I'm doing well. Hope you guys are taking care of yourself, being safe during these uncertain times as well.
Uncertain, uncertain in all the ways actually these days because I mean you talk about football as well, you talk about lifestyle, so uncertainty I think is there with everyone these days. And I also wish everyone a happy Dashera, and I sincerely hope you guys are safe, enjoying your time, and just staying tuned to this crazy season which has unfolded already. So we're going to talk about it more. We are obviously here for that, and we're going to talk about Liverpool. We're going to talk about this season. We are going to talk about Merseyside, and also we're going to talk about a lot of other things. So please stay tuned. To begin with, Salil, we have signed a great player like Thiago, and we have also signed an amazing star like Diogo Jota. I mean, before the season, before the transfer window, every single fan was screaming out loud on Twitter, and they were like asking and begging FSG to sign someone for the squad depth. People were complaining about, champions fatigue. People were talking about, you know, Liverpool have won it, now they will not win it again if they do not spend. So, the whole spend army, the FSG out army, they have been, you can call them being slapped, or they have just kept silent now since we have signed. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I guess the last time we are taking off from where we left the last time, but in a better, on a better note, actually. So last time we discussed about the guys craving about transfers. Now we actually have gone and got those transfers, and how? I mean, we've actually gone and signed the right players. Of course, looking back, I always was hoping that we'd also sign a centre back since we had sold Lovren. But I guess we were somewhat sorted because none of us would have ever thought of what would have happened with regards to the Virgil van Dijk situation. But I'm absolutely delighted with the players that we have gotten. Diogo Jota is going to be absolutely immense because, see, people can talk about and rave about Thiago as much as they want. But for me, apart from Thiago, if there's one player who's really going to keep us at the edge of our seats, is going to be Diogo Jota. The guy is an absolute workhorse. He's going to put in his shift. He's got goals in him. He's going to press the defenders from the front, like what a Firmino or Mane do on a usual or a regular basis. And he is going to be immense. He's like a breath of fresh air in this current team, and much needed depth with going ahead with regards to the front three, needing a breather.
Definitely, and I mean, talking about that, we still kept Shaqiri, Origi, and unfortunately, we did sell out whoever Brewster, which I'm sure a lot of Liverpool fans would have wanted to keep. But these are still positive signs, and we still have that quality on the bench now. And talking about Jota, I think you're completely right, because I still cannot get over his performance against Arsenal and Sheffield United just in the last match, because he was all over the pitch. He was, I mean, the pace, the kind of pressing he did. I think, not only Jota, for me, Jota and Minamino, I think they are a deadly combination off the bench coming up. And even if they are starting, I mean, that's those two for me are amazing signings, and they have a bright future because they're quite young as well.
Absolutely. I think Minamino is going to come into that mold slowly and gradually. He has a talent. He's nimble footed. And he is basically seen as the heir to Bobby Firmino going down the line. You know, of course, Firmino is Firmino. He's irreplaceable. But Minamino can play off him. He can be in a similar shadow, maybe learn of him, play the similar role that Bobby has been playing for us. And in fact, last week when we played Sheffield, Bobby Firmino played as a CAM, right? He played more of a number 10 than actually playing as a striker, and it worked wonders. I mean, he scored a goal playing in midfield, and his link up with Jota, Mane, and Salah was absolutely incredible. Of course, the scoreline could have been a lot more, but for me, he's always putting in a good shot, irrespective whether he scores a goal or not. Is doesn't matter to me. But for me, that link up with Jota, Minamino, Bobby is really going to be something special this season. Minamino obviously will be more of a subs option, but if Jota and Bobby can actually start working their magic together, because they both speak the same language, so language and communication will not be a problem. Plus, both of them are really intensely hardworking players who can play off each other, interchanging from time to time, holding up play, looking for that pass ahead for the front three. So it's going to be absolutely orgasmic with regards to Liverpool fans wanting to see these two players combine along with the obvious two best duos in the world that we have in in Salah and Mane.
Of course, and I think I completely agree with you there. I mean, this is really a bright future for us with these two players, and we're just super excited. I think you can see the happiness, right, flowing through the face right now. So yeah, and given the current circumstances, even when we have signed, Jota and Minamino, and I think players are clicking. You were right. In the last game, we could have scored more. I mean, Salah literally missed a hat trick of chances. He could have got his hat trick, and he could have got an amazing. I think that goal was a goal of the season. If it wasn't offside, it's really unfortunate that Salah has scored amazing goals which have been counted as offside. So it's really unfortunate for the guy. He tried. He hit the post the second time, and the third time also the ball was over the bar. So no issues. I think done and dusted. We still got the win, 3 points. I think that's really important. Like Klopp said, you get 1-0 wins 8 times. That's more important than 8-0 wins. So talking about 8-0 wins, we almost lost 8-2 to Aston Villa, and we'll just come back to that. But before that, let's talk about the league. Now we have discussed the transfer window. We have had an amazing transfer window. We, however, did not bring any centre back, or we did not bring any goalkeepers. So before we hop on to discussing the league table, the league, how it started, and what's currently going on, what do you feel about the lack of centre back? Because we have already sold Lovren and whoever, and Adrian. Now, do you really feel that he is a good second keeper?
Personally speaking, no, because I'm actually surprised we actually sold Carriers or loaned Carriers and kept Adrian, because Adrian is not really young. He's 37. And let's be honest, even if Carriers had played first team football, he's not going to get a chance at the German national team anytime soon, unless there are a heap of injuries to Neuer and Ter Stegen. So it would have made sense if we could have kept Carriers, because personally, I feel Carriers is still a lot better as a keeper compared to Adrian. Of course, his reputation preceded him after what happened in Kiev 2 years back, but we need to move on, and I think he should have been kept instead of Adrian. Adrian could have been a decent third choice, maybe for a League Cup or maybe an FA Cup game. But I feel Karius should have been kept as a second choice instead of sending him out on loan. With regards to the centre backs, I think we were sorted because, as I said, nobody saw the Van Dijk situation at any point of time. Of course, there were concerns regarding fatigue. There was concerns about even if what if Van Dijk gets injured, and I think people were wanting him to get injured so that we buy a centre back, which unfortunately has become the case. And our fans really don't help their cases in any which way in such situations, because they always want new players to come in. They don't really want to hope that we develop good players. Now we have had Trent come in. Reece Williams has run so well. In preseason, we had Billy Cometio who really performed very well. So there are players that who are going to break through in due course, but people need to be a little patient. And I don't know whether people did read about what Klopp said when we were supposed to play Ajax. We entered the season with what? Van Dijk, Matip, and Gomez as the three first choice centre backs. Okay, with Fabinho potentially playing as the fourth choice. And that was going pretty well till the Arsenal game, maybe even till the Villa game. It was only after the Everton game that things changed royally. Of course, losing a player as big as Van Dijk is going to be difficult for any team when you have a quality defender of his stature. It changes a lot in the team, but still, I feel we are still sorted. The only thing is we need to be a little lucky with injuries. I think Reece Williams will come in at some stage, and he looks a proper talent. He came on against Ajax. He did what he was expected to do. He won the aerial duels. He kept the game alive wherever he played. So I feel that we are still sorted, and as long as we keep winning, nothing else matters at this point.
Absolutely. I think winning is all that matters. I mean, Liverpool reserves won against Everton 11, so I really don't think that anyone can underestimate the youth of Liverpool Football Club. Coming to Reece Williams, I understand. I think he made a few mistakes in the preseason game. I remember that. I think he was quite difficult. He was finding it really difficult to in the one-on-one situations, and also to clear the ball for like around 5-10 minutes when he was under pressure. So obviously he's quite young and he needs a lot of you know testing. He needs a lot of patience right now. He also needs a lot of experience to for first team football. But do you really feel that Reece Williams can be a good option as a starting 11 in the starting 11 of Liverpool Football Club? Because see, you have to understand that even Joe Gomez did not have a good game till he showed up in Arsenal. He was having a howler. I mean, for the past 2 or 3 months, I mean, even post the pandemic break, Joe Gomez, I think I think ever since the Atletico game, Joe Gomez has been in a really, really poor form. I think we have considered way more goals is because he was caught out of positions. He did not deal with the one-on-one situations. He did not press enough, and he was just backtracking the attackers, which I have no idea why we backtrack attackers when they are in the middle of the pitch. I mean, obviously Van Dijk is gonna be there for the cover up. So, Reece Williams being a youngster and Gomez being so experienced in comparison, it's still a huge, huge risk. I mean, we got beaten 7-2 by Aston Villa. It still hurts that we got beaten 7-2, that too with Gomez and Van Dijk behind, with Arnold and Robertson as well. So, it's not like no one else was playing. So, it's still I just feel that it's still very very early for the young guy because I mean let's face it, I mean even Brewster didn't make it to our starting 11. So I mean a player with the I think in comparison far more potential than Williams. Obviously I'm comparing two different positions, but at the end of the day they are still coming from the young team, right? So yeah, I think I do agree with you at some point that we need to push our youth forward. But I think but I personally feel that it's time we bought a center back rather than that, because this is like an emergency situation. It's not like it just we have been 6 games. It's not that we have completed 35 games and we just have maybe 3-4 games left and we just have to deal with it. Unfortunately, it's just been 6 games into the season and we're already having a lot of issues. Naby Keita is out. Thiago is he's fought coronavirus, he's fought injuries as well. Now he's kind of injured again. Van Dijk is injured, and probably for the rest of the season, God knows what's happening there. Alisson just came back. Unfortunately, he was at the other end of the penalty. And then we have James Milner also, who's aging, and so he's getting prone for injuries as well. Jordan Henderson again, Joe Gomez, Matip. I think we all know the history with them and their injuries. So it's really crazy, and I have not seen Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain I think this season at all. So it's just crazy, right? How injury prone we have, and we're not even talking about Adam Lallana because he's not there. Otherwise, he would have been on the top of the list along with Naby Keita.
Now, to keep your long story short, a lot of our first choice players this season have not really had a preseason, right? So Keita, I think, got injured, and Ox already was injured. Trent didn't really have a preseason, and to be honest, he's been awful for his standards this season.
True.
Robo has been our best defender this season, be it at center, be it at left back, or even attacking wise. I think Salah, Mane, Jota, and Robo have been our standout players this season. Unfortunately, with Alisson getting injured, it really didn't help our case. And that also happened at the same time last year when initially the first 11 games we lost Alisson. Again, we lost him before the second leg against Atletico. Shit happens, unfortunately, but we have to move on. Coming to the 7-2 game, honestly, I'm not going to read too much into the game. It was a bad day at the office. Also, a lot of decisions I felt went against us.
A horrible day of the office.
It was, but I'm not going to dwell over it because it genuinely was a bad day at the office. Let's be honest, because it was 1-0 when we conceded early on, and then I think Salah was tripped inside the penalty box, which was a stone one penalty.
Yeah,
I don't understand which referee on VAR, a Sunday League football referee, would have seen it and given that as a penalty.
VAR is a completely different topic right now with us actually.
With Atkinson never really liked us, so let's forget about it. Of course, there was a moment I think where one of the Aston Villa players was offside. I think when we scored the goal, it was still 3-1. It was still 3-1 or some 2-1, and a lot could have happened had we got that penalty because it was still 1-0. Had we scored, things could have been different. But again, I feel when you have 3 deflected goals going in and when you have a keeper of the stature of Adrian, who's absolutely horrendous at times. I mean, no offense, but let's be honest. I call a spade, and Adrian is nowhere close to being a good goalkeeper. He's had his fair share of good days and bad days, but awfully lot of more of the bad days. Coming back to injuries, It's part of the game. We never saw it happen. Unfortunately, we entered the season itself with so many injuries because most of them didn't have a preseason.
Mm.
Costas Shimikas has yet to play for us. I think he's
Yeah.
only played one League Cup game for us, and that's about it. He's not featured either in training. Then he was out because of COVID. Then Thiago also was out with COVID. He came back, he played a game, and again he was injured because of the Richarlison tackle. Van Dijk we lost because of that reckless challenge by Pickford. Again, I don't want to talk about that game because it's really going to rile us all up. A game that was absolutely to be won, which we had won, and it was robbed away from us because of some horrendous VAR decisions and the refereeing decisions. Moving forward, I think currently, right now, I will take those crappy wins. Currently, it's all about getting your confidence back till the time you get your important players. Now with Alisson coming back, hopefully we get Keita and Thiago coming back, hopefully in the coming week. Uh, Now we're going to play Myjtylland, which I hope, because it's a home game, I'm assuming that it's something that we should be comfortably winning as a game. And it's a good game that we should win because we could go clear at the top of the table. And West Ham is going to be a difficult game. So we have to win these games if we have to compete. Currently, I just take victories over performances.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, I mean, if we don't play football, we are not Liverpool. I mean, let's face it, we're not Manchester United. We're not Everton. Who scrape out victories and barely manage top 10 or top six every single season, and then they crib up about lack of transfers when they are making 100 million signings every
No, you
single
tell me
season.
one thing. You tell me one thing. Which team out there is actually going on and putting a show? Right? Is Real Madrid
And
actually going on and playing beautiful
this
football?
season, absolutely no one, and for the very same reason
I
you
think
said, there's has
very
been
few
no break.
teams.
The preseason
I
has
think
been quite short of.
Leeds have been really good for the Premier League, of course.
Mm.
Liverpool have been great. Let's not take any credit away from the teams
Of course.
that we have played. We have played really well, and considering the situation where we don't have a lot of important players in important positions playing, where we
Yeah.
had to do with makeshift players playing and centre back and so on, we have been absolutely amazing. I don't see any reason why anyone would say Liverpool haven't been good this season. I mean,
Hmm.
despite all the crisis, despite losing so many important players, we're still joint top of the table, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, going into a season which is absolutely crazy, where there's no guarantees to who is going to play who's going to be whom. I mean, on one day you see Aston Villa beat us 7-2 and then go on to lose to Leeds 3-0, right? Southampton, who were languishing in the relegation zone, go and beat top of the table Everton. West Ham, who were 3-0
Handsomely,
down
by the
against
way.
Spurs, West
Yeah.
Ham, who were 3-0 down against Spurs, go on and draw 3-3. And
Oh,
that to a very informed Spurs team. Okay, let's not take anything away from that Spurs team. They are absolutely incredible this season.
yeah.
Some decisions or some moments went against them. I think when in the Newcastle
Yeah, I
game, and
think the Newcastle game was quite unfair for them,
but
obviously. Yeah.
Spurs this season need to be taken seriously because they are quite an informed team. If Kane and Son remain fit this season for the majority of the games, they are going to be a handful for a lot of teams this season. Man
Yeah.
City have yet to be in their stride yet. They haven't really had a preseason. They still have some players coming back from injury, and they still have a lot of the players yet to peak. Going into the season, they
True.
are, I guess, 12th or 13th in the season. Who would have thought a team like Man City would be in that position, going 6 games or 5 games into the season? This
Mm-hmm.
season is going to be crazy. If anyone thinks that it's going to be a stroll for either City or Liverpool, they are highly mistaken. I mean, a team could be on for 80, 85 points and win the league this season. That's how it is.
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, I really don't see anyone making 85 points as well because it just been crazy, like you said. So, I always had like, so I think in the previous conversation, I remember you saying Liverpool, I think top four finish for Liverpool was going to be a good achievement if we didn't sign anyone. But we did sign a lot of good people.
That
So,
was obviously because we had not signed a player when we did the
yeah, yeah,
last.
yeah, yeah. That's why I mentioned it, right? That when we didn't sign anyone. So I obviously at that point of time I told that we're gonna win the league again. So I'll stick to that. I think Liverpool first for me, Man City second, and I predicted Spurs to be third, and fourth is gonna be quite open for either Manchester United or Arsenal. And obviously Chelsea being in the limelight, and I'm pretty sure that Chelsea is a team that every single one would want to beat right now just to make a statement out of them for the overspending, and obviously they'll be lacking link up for throughout. throughout the season this year, and I think that was clearly shown against us as well. So we literally butchered them, to be honest. We could have got more goals if we wanted, and so I completely agree with you because the top four is not going to be the same. It's going to be very tricky. Even if I predict or you predict anything, there's going to be some kind of twist. I can just see it right now with teams like Southampton, Aston Villa, Leeds, West Ham, even West Ham coming up. So, and Wolves, by the way, I mean we're not even talking about Wolves at the moment. So, you know,
You forgot to mention
it's
Sheffield. I mean, yesterday,
Sheffield United. Yes, and now they
I
have a good
mean, they were
attacking squad.
languishing on the 19th position in the table, and they come to Anfield and they almost took a point. I mean,
Yep,
they really played well. Let's give them
they
credit.
did.
They
Yeah,
were really good.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
whichever way we want to look at it, the league is going to be crazy this year, like every year. But this season is going to be extra crazy because there are going to be teams who are still trying to peak into first gear, into
Yeah.
second gear, and so on. So with time, I think we'll see the teams coming through. Last season we had somewhat similar, right? It was a similar thing. Last season where Leicester were actually close to topping the table. I guess there was a point where they were just 6 points away from us, and then it all went away from them. So
Yeah.
such things are bound to happen. Given this season is going to be crazy. Not every team is going to have a perfect day. There'll be times when we are going to have a rough day. There'll be times when Man City, Man United, Chelsea, some of the top teams are really going to have a tough day. You just don't know what to expect in this league anymore.
Yeah,
It's really
that's for
interesting
sure.
for the
Yeah,
neutrals.
yeah, definitely. That's for sure. It's going to be a quite an amazing season for the neutrals. And given Everton is on top, Liverpool second, Aston Villa third, Leicester fourth, Leeds are fifth, Southampton sixth, Crystal Palace seventh, Wolves eighth, Chelsea ninth, Arsenal 10th, Tottenham 11th, City all the way down to 13th, and Manchester United at 15th. That's how crazy. That's how crazy that league table is right now. I'll just repeat myself with just a few of the teams. Chelsea ninth, 10th Arsenal, 11th Tottenham, 13th Man City, 15th Man United. It's not even top 10 I'm talking about. So we're literally
It's
talking
good
about
for us,
having
right? In a way, it's good for us because, of course, there was a point. I was really distraught after the Everton game because we were literally robbed of 3 points. We would have been top of the table right now. I don't know which referee would really give an
You know what?
offside.
Yeah, you know
Yeah,
what? Let's jump on to the topic right now. I'm just cutting the the whole league thing right now because I think VAR has been really frustrating this season. Starting off with the handball decisions, that there are so many penalties given just for the handballs right at the beginning, and they interrupted and they changed the rule at the right moment. See, I as a even as a neutral, as a Liverpool fan or not, as a neutral, I feel if the ball is offside, it's offside. But giving armpits offside, maybe a fingernail offside, those are absolutely ridiculous. The Mane decision was absolutely ridiculous. Jordan Pickford, I mean, you can ask a blind guy to sit uh, right next to Jordan Pickford, and he can literally hear Van Dijk screaming and Pickford making that channel, and he would give a red card. You don't need eyes for that, and it's absolutely ridiculous how the way it has been treated, and even after the game, it has not been reviewed. By the way, it has not been reviewed after the game, and again, the Fabinho penalty that Sheffield United got, the VAR checked whether the ball was on line or not whether the contact was made or not, because the contact was made with the ball at first. It was just the follow through that got his leg, and that barely got his leg, by the way. So we have, and in the same day you had Harry Maguire challenging on the Chelsea player. I didn't see the game, so I obviously don't know how that worked out, obviously, but I mean we do read, right? So I mean that's just absolutely crazy. So VAR has already been in trouble. It's been 6 games, and people are already questioning it, the use of it, because it's not so. VAR last season was all about the fourth umpire, right? The fourth referee, or whoever you call it. Now you have the referee on the pitch who gets to take a call. He goes to the screen, he sees, what's happening there, and he can reverse his decision. And yet, I'm pretty sure the referee see what's happening, but because of the rules, whether it's intentional, it's not intentional, whether it's clear or not clear, the rules are so manipulative that you can dive and get a penalty, right? You can have a contact of not outside the box and you can still get a penalty. You can raise your arm like this and you can just jump for a ball. You can raise your arm
In short,
high
you get
and you can
any
get a
contact,
penalty again.
it's a
Yeah,
penalty
exactly.
if
So
it touches
that's
your
just
hand.
absolutely in shambles, VAR.
To be honest, I would slightly deviate from here. VAR is not a shamble. It's the guys handling it who are shambles. And
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
handling it? The incompetent referees in the Premier League, right?
English
All
referees,
these
right?
years, all these years, we have said the same thing. The referees in the Premier League are abysmal, right? So it's the same guys handling it. And even Klopp said, and even afterwards, I think a lot of it was made on not just Twitter, but on other social media handles. And even inside the other studios where a lot of pundits were saying this. How does a referee at that level forget the rules, right? If it's offside, so tomorrow if I lunge in with both my feet onto a player despite being offside, it could be a career threatening injury. Does that mean I still get to stay on the field just because it's offside? Or is it that how many times have we seen off the ball incidents happen after the referee has blown for half time or full time and so many players have been sent off? Why not
Yeah, I
for an
mean,
offside?
yeah, I mean, this season the full time whistle went and someone got a penalty. So I'm pretty sure you
So
can just
I
do.
don't even want to get to. I don't even want to talk about other teams because we are talking about Liverpool right now, and that game was literally ours. We played well. We deserved to get that win. We lost the most important player for us in defense. We lost an important midfield player in that game. We had clearly won the game, and it was robbed away from us. I don't understand which referee gives. You cannot score with your hand. You cannot score with your arm. You cannot score with your elbow. Right?
I feel
If
your pain. Yeah.
anything, if there's anything, you can score maybe with your shoulder, and
Yeah.
that too not beyond this point.
Mm.
And if you cannot score with your arm or fingers or anything, then how can you be adjusted for offside? On what
True.
basis?
True.
Secondly, Van Dijk was down for almost nearly 4 minutes. What stopped the referee, be it the VAR or be it Michael Oliver, to consult his linesman or to go and have a look at the TV screen? Right? I think the final choice should be with the officials on the pitch, right? I think the referee in the VAR room can say, I feel it is offside, but I feel if you think it's a red card offense, go and have a look and take a call. I
See,
think
I
the
think
last
I think
choice should
that's
be
not a
the
VR decision, to be honest. That's more of common sense that there has been a tackle. Like suppose
no,
if
but
it was offside.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
something. The referees on the pitch cannot go against the VAR officials. So actually, it's the VAR officials currently who have the last say, which is why I realized this a lot later. I thought it was always the game, the ref on the field who had the last say. But in this case, it's if VAR calls it offside, it is offside. You cannot go and have a look unless the VAR officials tell you that the referee should go and have a look at the incident again on the screen. Then he can go and have a look, which I feel is really absurd. He should have either consulted his linesman. He didn't do anything about it. Neither did Michael Oliver go and have a look at it. Let's not even talk about David Coote, the VAR
Yeah,
referee.
exactly. I was just gonna come to him. Unfortunately, see, we have to talk about it. We have to talk about David Cook. We have to talk about the United penalty as well. Unfortunately, even if it's from a different game, because I'll tell you why. United got a penalty because it was reviewed after full time whistle. The whistle had gone, by the way. It wasn't an offside. The full time whistle had gone. So now, giving an example, let's say there's an offside situation, right? The player argues with the referee right on his face, right, that I wasn't off, ref, you got it wrong, and blah blah blah. Even if VAR existed or not, that guy gets a yellow card straight away. You know, if he was offside or not, that guy gets a yellow card. The ball is not in the ball is not playing at the moment. The ball is just outside. The goalkeeper's gonna has gone to get the ball. The referee still shows a yellow, right? It's still within the 90 minutes time frame. So it's simple as that. That's why I said it's common sense. Now, if VAR is not, if VAR, the VAR referee is the boss and not the guy on the pitch, then to be honest, I feel that's very insulting, because there's a reason why there's a senior referee on the pitch and not sitting behind VAR. And now, so that's basically my first point. The second point, coming to Cook. See, if he was not wrong, he would not have been removed of his duties, right? So you're either hiring, you're hiding something, and if you're hiding something, you make your actions correct. Just correct your actions, man. I mean, you suspend Pickford for what? at least for 7 games. He needs to be suspended at least for 7 games with that horrendous tackle.
I don't care about the suspension that Pickford had got. For me, that should have been a blatant red card, whether be it 7 games, 10 games, or 3 games. For us, firstly, that was not offside. If he's playing his arm, he's not offside. To be very honest, that's what I feel, because you cannot score with your arm. Secondly, if that's not offside, Pickford gets a red card. We get a penalty. Pickford is going to be banned for 3 games. We could have won the game with ease.
I still doubt that they would have given us a penalty if it wasn't an offside.
Considering the situation, I'm dead sure that we wouldn't have got a penalty there. But moving on, I think a lot has been said enough already about the Everton game. We cannot do anything about it. The referees are incompetent, and I'm sorry, but that's how it is. We need better officiating. They can definitely learn, but unfortunately, it's English referees. They're not going to
But
change.
that's not happening. The referee, the questioning, I think Klopp has been questioning the referees for the past 3 years, I guess, 3.5 years now. Ever since he has been in the Premier League, it just took him like maybe a year more because, see, we have lost titles, we have lost invincibility, we have lost a lot of things because of really, really stupid referee calls. And with VAR, without VAR, I think that is just not, because I'm pretty sure that during halftime the referees, they they go into their rooms and they are briefed upon, like, what decision they got right and what decision they got wrong. They get to know, right? So even everyone talks about the referees being soft on the other team because they got a decision wrong, but there's just no shame in any of them that they got the decision wrong, so just make it right on the pitch. And that's just how it is, unfortunately, with English referees. And I unfortunately, I just don't see this changing. It's been years since Klopp has been saying, it's been a decade since we are seeing this level of refereeing. Maybe that's why they're not even qualified for a Champions League game. They don't get international games like just because of that.
Can't help it. I mean, we had our say about English referees for a long time, and VAR was brought in to rectify the wrongs of, the speed of the game has increased 3 or 4 times from what it was 4 or 5 years ago. The speed of the game has really increased, so it is really difficult for referees to keep up with it. And human errors are always going to be the case in normal time, which is why VAR was brought in, so that you can have a look at the replay of that incident and rectify your call or take the right decision. But if it's not going to happen, and I don't understand why they have to drag that line. Why can't they just use a normal line and call it an offside or not? Why do you have to actually stick that line, that yellow and black line? I don't understand the concept of that. I mean, why do you want to shift it close to? I mean, it's a case of benefit of doubt. To be very honest, if you're having an opposition player and yourself or your player being in the same line, why can't you call it onside? Why should it be offside? There should be no iota of doubt in that. I mean, that's what I'm saying. These are fine margins that can decide a team winning the league, getting relegated, or getting into the Champions League. These can cost teams big time if they don't take the right calls. Personally, I feel that the FA should do more, or the Premier League should have done more to retrospect with. You cannot just say it's a human error and get away with it. It's a matter of, see, when teams like Liverpool, Man City, that are genuine title contenders, when they face such decisions, they obviously have a right to file for a case wherein we feel that we were robbed of that case. Why should we suffer, right? Why can't we be awarded 3 points? Take the matter to court. Why should we suffer on the basis of incompetent refereeing? Why was VAR brought in, right? Of course, these are all debatable points that you and people like you and me can have here. Obviously, it's all about what they are going to implement. I'm sure that's never going to happen, because the refs are never going to admit that they were wrong. Neither would the Premier League as a whole would obviously want to take a chance at that. So can't do much. Let's move on with something else.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's the issue there. All right. I think we have dwelled enough on VAR and English referees, and I think the conclusion, as always, is going to be there's nothing we can do about it, to be very honest, because the only person who can do something about it is FA and the Premier League, and to be honest, they are just dumb and numb. So let's move on. Let's get into more positive talks.
Been this season? He's been immense. I mean, forget about everything else. Of course, we lost an important player like Van Dijk, but how well has Fabinho done since replacing Van Dijk in his place?
Yeah,
He's
the,
been
the
brilliant.
very first game he played, he was man of the match. I mean, there's nothing more to say there, right there. So, and also credits to Klopp, by the way. I mean, he brought in a right back, a Brazilian right back. He played him as a central defensive midfielder, and now he's playing him as a centre back, and he's doing amazing work.
He was always a CDM from the time he played at Monaco. He always played at the holding anchoring role. It's just that for Brazil, he's played at right back. At times, he's played at
Yeah,
centre back. I think that for me, the standard performance was against Bayern Munich and against Chelsea, where he probably kept the two most informed strikers in Europe out from scoring. So massive respect to Fabinho and the role that he's played. He was
true.
pretty unfortunate against Sheffield. It was not a foul in the first place. Even if it was adjusted to be given a foul, it was outside the box, and I don't see why it was upgraded to a penalty. Let's not get into that again because it's all about VAR and the incompetent refereeing. But Fabinho is going to be immense for us this season, and we can only hope and pray that we are a
He's
little
fit.
lucky with injuries. Not
Yeah,
just Fabinho, even with Matip, even with Gomez. I mean, otherwise we'll have to rely on somebody like Reece Williams to start games for us, which I don't want that to happen. Of course, I
no,
want
no.
Reece Williams to get games, but at the right time, in the right circumstances, where
Mhm.
he's having a senior figure around him, like how he started at Lincoln away in the League Cup when he had Van Dijk next to him. So he
Of
needs a
course.
senior leader next to him to guide him from time to time to make the right pass, to switch play, to make the right tackles. He needs a senior figure like him around him to for him to improve overall.
Definitely. No, no, I'm sure. And coming talking about the importance of Fabinho, let's also talk about the importance of having or signing another centre back. What do you feel? I mean, we have been linked with two centre backs now, with the deal of say 20 to 40 million respectively for either of them. Do you really feel those rumors are true, or do you feel that we should go in January, or guns blazing, given FSG and their marketing strategies?
100% because when you lose a player of Van Dijk's quality, he's the obvious first choice. He's going to play every single minute of the Premier League, of the Champions League. He's the one who defined what defending is in the modern day. He's totally changed the way people look at Liverpool now. We are more respected. We know that since we have a Van Dijk, he's like the Messi of defenders, right? He's like right up there. Losing somebody like him, we obviously need somebody. I will not share the same stature, but somewhat close to him. And of course, looking at the players that we are linked up with, which is not right for us to comment on because it's still rumors. But I will be surprised if we don't go in for a centre back, a senior, a proper good centre back in the Jan window because it is a need of the hour. It is an area which needs addressing. And the centre back position, I hope we really go and sign a good, decent centre back who can really, gel well into the team, slot right in, and not be, found wanting anywhere. Uh, it's going to be difficult because in the Jan window, we really don't get top targets because in the midst of the season, no club wants to let their best players go. And if
That's for sure,
unless
but we still
unless
can take advantage of the current situation, given the pandemic. I'm pretty sure that clubs would want some kind of financial assistance. So I think it really depends upon who you target and which club you're targeting. So you can end up paying more, and or you can end up getting a bargain deal. So I think it can go either way with that. The same goes for FSG. Now, before we began the conversation, we also discussed. I just mentioned the marketing and the transfer strategies of FSG basically. So we if we, even if we go for a center back, I'm pretty sure we're talking about letting go of Shaqiri or Origi or one of the players, because I'm pretty sure there's one of them is going to go out. Irrespective of we signed Thiago or we signed Diogo Jota, or and irrespective of the players we have sold, um, we still feel as Liverpool fans, as much as we know FSG, that there will be outgoings, because we are not going to sign anyone without giving away players.
that is going to happen, some players will move out. I think players who we were not able to ship out, maybe Shaqiri or Origi, were the two players who might go out. I don't know who else might want to go out, but Nat Phillips may want to go out. So currently, right now, net spend is not the problem. Of course, FSG might want to consider that, or maybe they'll try recouping some of the amount in the summer window of next season. But right now, the need of the hour is going out and buying a proper centre back.
Yeah.
What could happen is it could probably uh, deal a blow, maybe going the summer window when we are looking at reinforcing the squad with more players, because we will have some outgoings then. Because has not yet signed a contract, he could leave. Milner could leave on a free next season. Uh, we don't know what the situation will be with regards to the centre back situation back going down the line. So we will see incomings and outgoings happen at some stage. But right now the need of the hour is getting that centre back, because Van Dijk is going to be out for a long time. See, the surgery may not be a problem. Surgery might go well. It's the healing time that's going to take a lot of time. I won't be surprised if he's going to be out for 1.5 years. God forbid. I hope that never happens. But if I want him to be back ASAP, but I want him to be back fit and firing. I don't want him to come back with, because players are never the same when you have such a long-term injury. A lot of,
Yeah.
especially the ACL, is one of the worst injuries that can happen to a footballer or for any sportsman for that matter. It's going to keep him out of the top level for a very long time. He has to get back into fitness, into shape. Ox dealt with it, so you know how Ox has regressed as a player since that has happened to him. So it's going to take some time for Van Dijk to actually come back into what he is. A centre back is a priority for me
Uh,
going ahead into the season. And if we
I
are really doing well, I'm sure we will sign a centre back, because there'll be a lot of fixtures congestion that we're going to face.
true.
Also, hoping that Leipzig go out early in the Champions League, because if that happens, then we
Uh,
somewhat have a stronger say with regards to signing someone like
yeah,
Upamecano.
that is a possibility. You made a really fair point that in case if Leipzig, goes out, that's a really good opportunity for us. So, I mean, no, not hoping bad for them, obviously, but then again, we would definitely want
I'm only looking
whatever
at
best for
I'm
us.
only looking at what's best for Liverpool. I know I must have ruffled a few feathers for people who watch German football and like Leipzig as a team. I don't want anything bad to happen to them, but I feel it really improves our chances if Leipzig go out early, and if Liverpool, obviously, I hope will still be there that time. When we have a player of his qualities come and slot in into the first team, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Of course, he's an immensely talented player. He's still only 20, 21 years old. He only has scope to improve. And with guaranteed game time with somebody like Van Dijk being out, I don't think anyone would want to let go of an opportunity like that. The only issue where I would feel we might have a problem is paying the release clause. Because Liverpool aren't the type who are going to pay the entire release clause given the situation. That's how we were able to sign somebody like Diogo Jota, because we were able to pay 10% of the fee now, and the remaining figures were supposed to be paid over a 4-year period.
Yeah.
So if Leipzig settle their stance over his release clause, or maybe accept a player plus cash in negotiations, then I think we might stand a fair chance over there.
See, with Leipzig, I don't think it's going to be an issue because they have rich owners. I I really do not feel that they're going to be negotiating or bargaining with us. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be okay with an either or deal.
Could be the
That completely
case.
depends upon the player as well. If the player says that
That's
he
not
wants
going
to
to be the
leave,
case. I would like to disagree there. That's not going to be the case, because even though we have good relations with Leipzig, I think they charged us a bomb for Keita, and Keita is yet to play his real best for us. The same goes for Timo Werner as well. They slapped a release clause of 55 million. You pay 55 million and take him away. They are not, see, business on one side, good relations on the other side. Even though we have good relations, I don't think they would want to lose their best players at any given point of time, even though if they are a selling club. And if they are, they're going to try and maximize the profit. Whichever team is going to come and pay for him and take him away. I'm sure a lot of clubs will be looking at Upamecano in the Jan window as well. But Liverpool, for me right now, should be his dream destination given the situation and the opportunity that is there for him to go out and play.
surely because see, when you talk about clubs charging a premium, that comes with what kind of club is asking for the player as well. So, had it been City or Chelsea, they would obviously ask for more money.
That's the case with Liverpool too. There's no difference. Which team? See, when Liverpool enters the fray, the price goes up by another 20, 30 million automatically if he's that good of a player. Otherwise, on a regular 10, 15 million will definitely go up. Nowadays, that's how it is for the English clubs. I mean, when an English club comes in, the
Yeah.
price range increases. Whereas you look at Haaland, for example, when he was playing for what is it, Salzburg. When he was linked with us, he was what, 55, 60 million worth of a player. When he went to Dortmund, what did he go for? Barely 20 million.
Yeah,
So
even I was
it
surprised with
makes a
that
big
transfer
difference.
because I mean that was just peanuts compared to the kind of talent that Dortmund got.
Absolute bargain for a team like Dortmund
Yeah,
to
exactly.
get
That's why I
Thiago.
said, it completely depends upon the kind of team that's coming in. So, with Liverpool, the confidence that I have, because of the kind of reputation we have, the kind of business that we do with teams. So, we don't just go out and rip them off. Obviously, we kind of make sensible deals. Then everyone knows about us, to be honest, because no player or no team is expecting Liverpool to come out and shred 100 million for a player. But you can expect that from City or Chelsea, Madrid, Barcelona, PSG as well. So I think in that matter, that's where I'm a bit confident, more confident actually, in getting players in with good deals. So that's basically how it is. That's what I meant by saying that it really depends upon the kind of team who's coming in. Haaland was a perfect example that you said because Haaland is what I had in my mind. So yeah, that's how it is. And so yeah, I think the GK situation we discussed, the centre back situation we have discussed. So I sincerely hope that we go for a centre back because it's not just because of Van Dijk injury. I think we were missing a centre back ever since Lovren has gone, and even when Lovren was there, we wanted to sign a centre back because we knew how injury prone Gomez and Matip are, and once they are injured, they are literally gone for a long time because Matip, I think he was injured post the pandemic break against Everton, and he came back in the Everton game. So that's basically he just ran a complete circle there. So yeah, I think so that sums up the centre back and the GK possessions for us. Now coming up next is the return of Alisson and Thiago. So let's go on the brighter side more now that again Thiago Alcantara. I think we still have some of us still have that song on repeat mode at the moment, and we're still listening to them. But we just cannot believe Thiago Alcantara has been. I think he has been the signing of the decade maybe, or the best signing Liverpool has made in the past 20, 30 years because we have never signed a quality player like him ever. I think so. We have always nurtured players. We have always brought in the best out of players, be it Torres, be it Suarez, be it anyone else. And Thiago just happened, and again Alisson also coming back. So less games for Adrian, obviously, but we're happy. Like we are feeling more confidence in the defense and also in the midfield now.
I don't care about Adrian getting games anymore, to be honest. I mean, I don't want any of our top players to ever get injured, or for that matter, any player, be it a rival or be it our own player, to ever get injured. But coming back to Thiago, I don't think this is the first time, I guess, in the last time we signed a player of that caliber or somewhat of that caliber was, I think, Fernando Morientes. And that was back in 2005 when we won the Champions League. And nobody saw that coming. Of course, he didn't really work out for us. Thiago is probably one of the best midfielders in the world, alongside Kevin De Bruyne and maybe Luka Modric and Toni Kroos, let's be honest. But for me, his signing really gives us an edge going into games against quality opposition. Unfortunately, he's been out either with injury because of whatever happened in the Everton game, or be it COVID. So we have really missed out on a quality player of his caliber. It really speaks volume because FSG haven't really done that in the past. We have only signed players like how we have gone and signed Mane when he was 23, 24, Jota when he's 23, 24, Salah when he's 23, 24. The potential players who could go on to become world class. We have not really signed an already established world class
Yeah.
player on high wages already.
Yeah, that's
So
throughout our ownership actually, not only FSG, that's throughout our ownership, recent
yeah,
ownership actually, in the past three, four owners which we have had.
this is the second ownership that we've had. So yes, uh, that's how it's been. I mean, what I feel is, of course, now since we spoke about the defensive situation, we will need a quality defender because till the time you're playing teams like an Ajax, you're playing teams like Sheffield, you're playing teams like Wolves. Also, to a certain extent, you can still see games out. But when you progress to games in the knockout stages of the Champions League, you're going to face some really difficult teams. You're going to face Barcelona. You're going to play probably the best team in the world right now is Bayern Munich. And
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, you look at that team, even without Thiago, they have signed Sane, they have signed Douglas Costa, and they look like a proper unit all over again. I mean, they left they started like they left back from last season. Of course, they lost 1 or 2 games, but as a team, the way they dismantled an Atletico Madrid team, my goodness, I mean, absolutely outstanding for a team
Yeah, it
that's
was a
so
shock,
defensive.
but the Atletico
It
game
was
was
so
a real
yes,
test for them actually.
absolutely. And uh, Bayern look favorites for this season as well in the Champions League because they look unreal. It's going to take them some stopping. It's going to take a team some stopping to stop Bayern Munich this season again, is what I feel. They are again favorites for the treble for the league, the cup, as well as the Champions League. So in a way, that takes some pressure off teams like us because we always do well as the underdogs. When nobody expects us to win, we really go on and win. And I hope that's going to be the case this season because with Van Dijk being out, a lot of rivals are going to count us out of a lot of trophies. And that's good for us because then we can go and do our bit. So yes, we will need a quality centre back when we are going to go into the knockout stages of the Champions League. Hopefully, we address that situation, and by then, hopefully, we should have the majority of our first team players and the reserves back, like Keita, Ox, Thiago, Shimikas. I hope Alisson stays injury free. I hope our centre backs don't have any sort of injuries, and so on, and even including the front three. I can only hope. So if we can somehow manage to keep the core of our important players available and fit, then I feel that we stand a good chance. But Bayern will take some stopping in the Champions League this season.
Then I sincerely hope we don't get Bayern Munich in any kind of draw actually,
No,
because
in
yeah,
fact,
they are a complete team.
let's
I
be
think they
honest.
are. Sorry.
Let's be honest. Whenever we have played teams like Bayern and Barcelona, whenever we've played them, we've gone on to beat them and we won the
Yeah.
Champions League. I mean, these are the nights we look up to, right? See, there was
Yeah.
a time for 6 years we didn't have, or 7 years we didn't have Champions League football. We craved for it. There were times we actually cried, thinking, when are we going to get these days back? Now that we are actually competing against these sides, we have become a model to follow for these teams, right?
True.
A lot of teams now look up to us and say, look at the team that Klopp has built. Look at the players that we have. We built from scratch, right? We made the right decisions, so that is why we are at the top. We need to do that again. It's an overall cycle. We need to continue doing that over a period of time. I don't mind us playing Bayern Munich. I don't mind us playing Barcelona again and again. No problem at all. These are the nights we look up to. But for that, we need to make sure that we have the right players available. Uh, we have done well in the league. Suppose if we are doing well in the league, we obviously can look at those games and going to those games with confidence. Now, if we are going to be struggling to be top of the league, we're going to be struggling with form, we will be struggling with fitness, then it's a real challenge for us.
Yeah,
Because
exactly,
to
and
beat
that's my
teams,
worry right there. And
to
that's
beat
my worry.
teams
Sorry
like
to interrupt you.
Bayern, to beat teams like Barcelona and Real Madrid, you really need your best players to be playing for you.
Yeah, see, now that's a sorry to interrupt you again, that moment. Yeah, so that's my worry actually, because the reason I would not want to play Bayern Munich at the moment is because of the kind of injuries that we have had. I would definitely want players like Thiago, Naby Keita as well, Alisson, Van Dijk to be available for those big games.
Van Dijk
Now,
is out
yes,
for the
we
season, so
yeah,
you
I
can.
mean, I'm just saying, like, I mean, I would have loved that if that was a possibility, because until unless we have Matip and Gomez are amazing center backs as well. So let's not underestimate them. To be very honest, it's just that we will lose our squad depth because we don't have anyone else anymore. So Fabinho cannot be a center back on his own. If both Matip and Gomez are injured by any chance. So so that's the thing. So I would definitely would love to maybe either win the UCL or the Premier League. But given that all our players are fit, because again we've not had none of the teams have had that kind of break which was needed, and and the fixtures have been piled up. So there has been no break, and the fixtures have piled up. We're playing a game every third day. I mean, we just have another game coming up with a team we never I don't think I knew them before that. I really have to just spell their name out and just figure out how do you spell their name. So yeah, the game is tomorrow itself, right? So it's going to be quite tricky for us as well, because we are still trying to figure out the best um, the best center back pairing at the moment, because we don't want to injure anyone if we just don't have it. We just don't have a player on the bench who can come up for them. So now coming back to the UCL, we have a game tomorrow. What do you feel about the game, and how do you feel like Klopp will come up with the starting lineup? Because we just played Sheffield United a couple of days back.
We don't really have a lot of depth right now going into this game again. So the team is going to be somewhat similar to what we played against Ajax, if I'm not wrong. We might start with a strong team, and then maybe after the hour mark, we might see Jota, Minamino, and Shaqiri come on and play, because we are going to have a game against West Ham in the coming in a few days' time as well.
Mm.
And I'm fairly confident that we should be able to beat this team that we are going to play in Myjtylland. Of course, they were thrashed by Atalanta 4-0, but I'm not going to take that as a measuring stick. For me, getting the win is what matters, and not having any more injuries is what matters. Because we can afford to win the game, top the group, go into the West Ham game with confidence. Hopefully, by then we should have one or two more players available. Thiago is not available, so I feel Alisson starts. Trent will start at right back. Gomez and Fabinho being the centre back pairing, because Matip is going to be out as well, as per what Klopp said some time back in his interview. And with Shimikas not being available, I still see Robo starting this game. I felt Shimikas would have started if he was available, but since he's not,
Um,
Robo's going to start. In midfield, we're going to see. I think we're going to see the same team that started away at Ajax, with Curtis Jones getting some game time. Milner might start, and I think Henderson will start this game, if I'm not wrong, or one of Genie, if that's the thing. Plus, the front three is going to be the usual front three that we have.
I do feel that Klopp will avoid that front three at the moment. I think he'll go with Minamino coming up, along with Jota has had a good game. So, but I do still he'll prefer Mane over him, and Salah is just on fire. The kind of preseason he had, I really didn't think that Salah will go on. But yes, you're right. Thiago is obviously injured, but for some reason I don't know why. Is there any chance that Jurgen Klopp will start Nico Williams?
I highly doubt it. I think if we have a sizable lead, and if we feel that Trent needs a breather, he might do that. But currently, he might want to keep that fifth substitute just to be on the safer side with regards to looking at the centre back situation.
Mm.
Because we saw Reece Williams come on against Ajax in the dying minutes, and he did pretty well in those 4 minutes. I won't be surprised if something like that happens again, where he might get maybe 5 or 10 minutes this time around, given the situation. And that's a good learning curve for him as well. Personally, given the opposition, I think he should start the front three, make sure that they get a few goals. When the game is somewhat on the secured side, maybe he will sub in the front three and get Jota, Minamino, as well as Shaqiri. They were quite good against Ajax. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
see
they
why they
were.
won't be good against Myjtylland as well. The midfield needs some rotation because Gini's played a lot of games. Henderson needs some game management because he's come back from injury. Milner can play some his bit, and Jones definitely needs some games to improve. So I feel we are sorted for now. We will play the regular front three, and after maybe we score a few goals, they might be subbed off for the other front three.
Okay. Yeah, I think we he can do that as well. Subbing them off in the 70th or 75th minute, the front three. That that kind of makes sense. But then again, we also have West Ham coming up. Fortunately for us, they all are home games, but unfortunately, we don't have a audience. We don't have fans coming in. So all the home games are, just worthless right now because
West Ham is
we,
coming in with good form. No? I mean,
yeah,
they have
exactly.
always been a difficult team for us to beat, whether we have played them at home or away. We have always had some very difficult and tight games against West Ham over the years. Even when we were going for the league in the start, when we won the Champions League the year, we were actually pushing City for the league. We dropped points away at West Ham, and even at home, they made it difficult for us.
Yeah.
So West Ham is a proper physical team, and Mikel Antonio is a real handful, and he scored an incredible goal against Man City over the
Yeah.
weekend. He really is a handful. He's strong. He's good in the air. He's good at holding up play. Bowen for West Ham has really been good this season. I've seen a few West Ham games when they were playing Man City and they were playing a few other teams. I think Spurs. Bowen has been really good for them. Lanzini has been very good for them. Uh, Yarmolenko has been good for them. So yes, and Declan Rice obviously has been very good for them.
Mm.
Overall, West Ham are a decent team. They are there for a reason. They are this typical party poopers, you can say. But yeah, that happened. Slip of tongue.
Yeah.
So you can edit
It's
it
okay.
later.
It's okay.
So West Ham, of course, will be full of confidence. They will come to frustrate us. They will park the bus, and knowing that Van Dijk is not available, Antonio could really be a real handful. It's going to take a good team effort for us to get 3 points in this game, is what I
Yeah.
feel. Just get the win, just get 3 points, top the table. Nothing else matters at this point of time.
Yeah, that's true. I think I do can see if West Ham are able to dominate the midfield. I think they can dictate the game to us because that incredible goal by
They are not
Lanzini
going to have
against
position. They
Tottenham,
are
that
going
was
to park the
amazing,
bus.
crazy.
Let's be honest. West Ham is going to park the bus and hit us on the counter. We already know that, right? West Ham is going to rely on set pieces. They're going to rely on the threat of Mikel Antonio's physical strengths. They're going to rely
Yeah.
on the creativity of a Bowen on cutting in from the right hand side. They're going to have Yarmolenko come in. They're going to have Declan Rice come in. Lanzini is going to be a little tricky to deal with. We might be on the knife edge with looking at the defensive situation for us. But given our firepower, given our attack, I feel we should get the win done. It's not going to be smooth sailing. I see a 2-1 or 3-2 sort of a game coming in against West
Wow.
Ham.
Okay. See, West Ham are still 12th in the table, and they still have, even after the Man City draw, they are still 2 wins and 2 draws. So I think
Trust me, this season the table has got absolutely nothing to do with form. As we saw, Sheffield was 19th, and they almost took a point. They really played well. Southampton was 16th or 17th when they played Everton, and I guess after winning they have gone up. So you just don't know what can happen, in this league. Man City went to Leeds, and we should have expected them to win, and Leeds got a draw. Leicester beat Man City away from home. So this is going to be an unpredictable season. We just don't know what to expect. West Ham are no pushovers. They are going to give us a tough game. Let's be mentally prepared for it. But for us, right now, what matters is get a few wins under your belt, get some confidence back. Once that happens, automatically by then we should get a few players coming in. So before we play Man City, if we are in a good position and we go ahead and beat Man City away from home, hopefully that happens. We are in a really good position.
Yeah, we also have Atlanta on third, and we have like around 5 days break before we face Man City. So yeah, it's gonna be quite difficult, and the fixtures are quite tough.
But let's be honest, Man City are going to be traveling to Greece before they play us. They are playing away from home. So they are going to be traveling to Greece, and Atlanta is going to be
At home, Liverpool.
At home.
It's a home
So
game, yeah.
in a way, it's an advantage for us. And by the time we play Atalanta, and hopefully if Atalanta drop points against Ajax for some reason, so we are in a good position given the group stages. I mean, of course, we're going to play Atalanta home and away, but right now it's a good time that we are going to play them at home because we are going to play away at Man City. So it would have been better to avoid travels outside and play Man City away, because Man City right now, the good thing for us is they are also going to be traveling to Greece. It's not a short distance for them. They are going to have fatigue. They are going to have an intense game away at Olympiacos and going to come back. So you just don't know what to expect.
So Atalanta is actually away, unfortunately. I just checked. West Ham is home. So we have 3 home games back to back. Sheffield United, Myjtylland. I'm sorry, I just cannot still spell it.
Myjtylland, yeah.
Myjtylland, sorry, yeah. And West Ham United. So we have these 3 home games coming up, and then we have Atlanta away.
Even if we are playing Atalanta away, it's not going to be a lot of distance to be covered, because I think it's 3 or 4 hours by flight. It's still fair enough. I'm just okay. It's better than traveling 8-9 hours away to Greece.
Yeah, that's true. And but still, Atlanta, I think they are more competitive team. I mean, last year Champions League, they were amazing, right? So they're not a team to be underestimated, because Atlanta and Man City, they are going to be 2 intense games. They are going to, so one of the reasons that we were quite happy with the group is not because these are minnows. These teams are not minnows. It's just that these teams play with intensity. They are young teams. They play with intensity. It's going to be a lot of pressing. It's going to be as similar as Liverpool versus Leeds United. The kind of intensity that game had. So we are expecting the same with Ajax and Atlanta as well. So it's going to be quite difficult for us as well. Yes, of course, the travel distance and the time zones, they obviously matter. So I sincerely hope that you're right in this case, because yes, traveling for Man City is going to be quite difficult, because even they are injury prone at the moment. They have a lot of injuries themselves. So I sincerely hope that works in our favor.
Still out. I think he played against West Ham. Aguero played against West Ham, right? I think he played against West Ham.
I don't think so. Wasn't Aguero suspended? Did he not get suspended for that action?
I think he played. I am not too sure.
I don't
But
watch the games. I
see,
just don't
I'll
watch
tell you
watch
what,
the games.
with Atalanta, I just checked their league position. They have not been really good in the league this season, in their domestic league. I'm talking about Serie A. They have lost, what, 4-1 to Lazio. They have lost one or two games in the league this season. So,
Yeah,
league-wise, they haven't really performed. But of course, Atalanta being Atalanta, they are always going to be a threat because of the brand of football that Gasperini has been playing with them. Of course,
true.
it's going to be a tough game. And for me, that is going to be the most important game in that group stages of the Champions League. If
True.
we somehow manage to avoid defeat in that game, and of course, because Ajax away was the second most difficult game of that group stage, I feel we fairly have a good chance of finishing top of the group. Because
Mm.
if we somehow avoid defeat at Atalanta and we beat Myjtylland tomorrow, we are in a very good situation. We are in a very good position to progress. So
Yeah.
then we can think of rotating the squad because we're going to play Atalanta back to back. So
Yeah,
this
that's
period
right.
is going to be important.
Yeah.
Hopefully by then we have Thiago back. Hopefully by then we have somebody like a Keita back. We might have Curtis Jones who can come in and play his role. We might see maybe Jota starting instead of Mane or Salah or Firmino or Minamino starting. So we just don't know. We might have to rotate there. We will have to rotate because we cannot play the same team over a period of 10, 12 days because of the intensity and the travel involved.
Yeah. So, do you want me to share the screen with you for the upcoming fixtures? I think that will give us a real good
Yeah,
clarity,
you can do that.
right? Okay, let me just do that. And meanwhile, when we're talking about, the upcoming games, yes, you're right. Atlanta, we play Atlanta away and home right back. And I think, do we have an international break after Man City game? Because the next game is on 21st, the last game is on 8th.
I
So, I
think we
mean,
have an international break.
yeah, yeah, because the games are like coming in thick and fast, and we don't have more than 5 days for the next game. So, uh, yeah, it's just gonna be like real crazy for us as well.
But I think the majority of our players can stay back. The only worry for me is Alisson going out because he's just come back. Of course, he missed the first international break because of injury. The second time, I don't think Brazil will be kind enough on us. Um, Somehow, if we can keep hold of Keita and Thiago this time, maybe something is in store for us. I hope our players don't really play the entire 90 minutes, even if they are playing, because
Hmm.
everyone wants to play for their country eventually. But I really hope their game time is managed and they're not overplayed. That
True.
happened a lot with Wijnaldum and Virgil van Dijk when they're playing for the Netherlands because they don't really have a lot of quality in depth. So they were forced to play Van Dijk for the full 90 minutes, Wijnaldum for the full 90 minutes, even in a friendly game. So that is something I have an issue with regards to the useless international break that is there.
Yeah, international breaks are useless, especially when you have a global pandemic happening, and it's absolutely ridiculous because you don't even have an audience, to watch the game. So this absolutely it doesn't make any sense. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is our game for tomorrow. Then we have this game again. Then Atlanta away on third. We have City on four. So that's like around 5 days of no, not
I
even
think
5
that
days,
should
four
be
days
good
of
enough.
break.
I think, yeah, that's good enough because Atalanta, I think, play their home games at the San Siro and not in Bergamo. Given the COVID situation, also, I think they will play it in Milan and not in Bergamo. Last season, they played their games at the home of AC Milan and Inter Milan. So if it's in Milan, then really it won't should not be a problem. If it's in Bergamo, okay, I mean, there's not much that we can do. Um,
Yeah.
that
We just, I
period is
think the
going to
only
be
thing
so
we can hope
crucial
for is
for
that
us.
they have a game, City have a game as intense as we'll have ours.
So November is going to be a really difficult month for us because we are going to play Atalanta away, Man City away. Sorry, Man City is away, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Man City's away.
away, and Leicester is at home. Leicester, Atalanta, and Brighton. So yeah, a really difficult spell of fixtures coming for us. If we somehow survive these run of fixtures, we really have a good chance. The good thing is Leicester is also involved in Europe this season, so they will have their commitments in Europe. So we
Yeah, I
really
mean,
don't know. We really
yeah,
don't know how Brendan Rodgers is going to approach that game. Of course, with Vardy in form, with Leicester being in form, it's going to be a difficult game as always playing Leicester. But for me, these two games, the Atalanta and Man City games, if we somehow get 3 points in these games, uh, we will approach the upcoming games with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I think November and December are going to be quite difficult for us. Atlanta, City, Leicester. You have Atlanta again, and Brighton are also a good team now. I mean, with their strike force uh, at
Brighton
the
as an
moment.
attacking unit is quite good with Tariq
Yeah,
Lamptey coming in from the right. He's a
yeah,
right back, but he's been really good this season. And Maupe is always going to be a problem for
yeah.
any player or for any defender. He's a
Mope has
proper
been amazing.
menace for he's a proper menace for defenders to defend against.
Absolutely.
Those type of defenders who create problems for you. They're going to push you. They're going to charge you down, press you down, like what Shea Long and these guys do. So it's going to be difficult to play against.
True. True, and then we come to December. I think what we have 2 days. That's about it. So we have Ajax. We have within 3 days we have Wolves. Sorry, within again 3 days we go to a club that I can't still spell, and then again after 2 days we have Fulham. Then 3 days Tottenham. Then again 2 days rest. We have Crystal Palace. So like 2-3, 2-3. That's what we're talking about. And then after Crystal Palace, the only break that we get for maybe what 6 days is West Ham. Oh, sorry, West Brom.
So by the time we approach mid-November or end of November, we will need the entire squad to be available with us, barring maybe Van Dijk, obviously, because he's going to be out for the season. But we need Shemikas, we will need Ox, we will need Keita, we will need Milner, we will need all of our players. We'll need Origi, and these players have to step up now. It's high time. I guess they've been injured far too long, or they've not been performing to the level that we expected. I'm really disappointed with Ox and Keita because every time they start playing, the team has outgrown them. Keita and Ox, the injury issues. What's the point of having you if you're going to be injured all the time? You need your mentality needs to be up there to be. I want to step in. I want to start playing games. I want to start challenging for those positions now because otherwise it really doesn't make any sense. For me, Ox and Keita really have to step up. They have been a big disappointment.
Yeah, I think they'll be given. They may be have given an exception this season if it was not just the pandemic and the financial uncertainties. I'm pretty sure we would have
Personally,
sold them after this
personally,
season.
personally, given a choice, I would have been all in favor of selling Ox and getting a player
Yeah,
who is
exactly.
available and be available to play. I
Yeah,
mean, players like OR from Lyon, of course, 60 million is a lot of money. But
yeah.
you sell somebody like an Ox for a good fee, even if you sell him for 40, 45, which is a good fee given his age, given his achievements. We could have still somehow managed to convince Leon to get a player of ours quality. I'm not degrading Ox, but let's be honest, he's been abysmal since the restart has happened. He's been awful overall. I think just the last two games of the last season, he played really well. But apart from that, he's not really had a preseason. He's not showed any signs of coming back to challenge for those spots or be available because the Euros are the next year. You need some sort of motivation to say that I want to start for my team. I want to start playing for my national team. I want to get those games. I want to challenge for those positions. It's not being there. The attitude is not being there,
Mm.
unfortunately, for Ox or Keita.
I think that's true. I completely agree with you because I think you can have maybe one or two, maybe 3 or 4 off games, but you just cannot continue that abysmal form for months. So Ox really has to step up, and that's why I said, right. I mean, if it wasn't the pandemic and the financial uncertainty, I'm pretty sure FSG would have sold Oxlade-Chamberlain after this after this season, and I'm sure they would have done that. Maybe in January they would have sold him. So I'm not quite sure about Nabikita because he's still young. I think they have been giving him, the advantage because of his injuries. It's not that he has played poorly or something because whenever he plays, he gives his 100%. Um, be him playing a box to box player, be him playing in a creative midfielder role. So I think he is an amazing player, but it's just that the injuries are keeping him away. I think the same, we have had so many players with the same thing, right? I mean, we have even Torres at the end of his tenure at Liverpool, he was quite injury prone. And recently we have Adam Lallana and Danny Ings as well. So unfortunately for us, there have been a lot of injury issues, and I think that is one of my concerns here, man, because we have games coming in after say 2 days break or 3 days break, which is just crazy. I mean, we could have let go of maybe the Carabao Cup, or we could have had a UCL, maybe in a later stage of the year, given that there are no fans. The UCL could have been postponed. Say maybe they could have started UCL around November or December, instead of going
It
in
wouldn't have made any
September.
difference. It would not have made any difference because the fixtures then would have been piled up any which way. Again, the same issue would have continued with no preseason going into the next season. So in a way, yes, some adjustments had to be done and some tough calls had to be taken. But yes, it's high time the French players now need to step up and need to be counted because the club has invested money into you. The club is backing on you to come out and perform. You cannot just give the excuse of being injury prone and these things because you are a Liverpool player. You need to play for the shirt, right?
Mm.
Your attitude should always be at the top. And Ox and Keita for me, despite I love them as players, but I'm really disappointed with their attitude. Not just as players, because when you're injured, I know it takes a big toll on you that you're playing well and again you got injured. But you need to show that desire that I'm going to stand up and be counted when I'm called for. You cannot just take things for granted. Keita this season, even when he's played, he's not really had a great spell. He's been okay, decent in some games, but he needs to be available when called upon. Unfortunately, that's not happened with him.
Yeah, unfortunately, the players don't, I mean, they don't have any control over injuries. So, you just feel you're basically on both sides. You are frustrated that you want them to play and that to in top form. And on the other hand, you also feel sad for them that, such a quality player who keeps on getting injured. So, yeah, the injuries are going to be an issue. And I think this is, I mean, to be honest, this is just the start because we have been just what 6 games in and we have already had so many injuries. There are still 32 games more to go, and given the intensity of the fixtures, the back-to-back fixtures, and their back-to-back fixtures till February. You're not getting anything. It's not that it'll all dry up around December. No, it's not that. Boxing Day has always been, the Christmas time has always been kind of hectic for us as well. So it's going to be quite difficult season, and it's going to be quite a challenging season. So you talk about 85 points. I think the team who gets maybe 81, 82, I think that's what we're looking at, because I wouldn't mind a lot of rotation against teams who are recently promoted like Fulham. I don't mind squad rotation in that case because we would rather have a full fit squad rather than risking them in every single game. So it's high time that we have a good squad depth, and we have a good squad depth apart from the center back and GK positions. So I think it's high time that we utilize the squad depth.
And it is about time that they start stepping up also, not just use them. They need to come out and make a statement
Yeah,
that yes, we are
yeah,
here not just to be reserves, we are going to challenge for the first team spot. Keita has been here
exactly.
for 2 years, Ox has been here for 3 years, but not more. And none of them are first team starters for me, even after 3 years. If a
Mhm.
36-year-old is ahead of you in the pecking order, that speaks volumes about you, unfortunately.
36.
Milner,
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Adrian
35.
is a 33.
No.
Okay.
Milner, I guess, is 34, 35. So if a
Yeah.
34-year-old or
Yeah.
35-year-old is ahead of you in the pecking order of the
Yeah.
midfield,
Yeah.
then something is terribly wrong somewhere, right?
That's
You
true.
have the talent, but then why can't you just go ahead and make that extra push?
No, exactly. Yep. I think that's. I think the season will speak about their impact and all. I think after this season, this current season, I think we'll have a really tough decision to make with Oxlade-Chamberlain, and also about Naby Keita. Not for selling him, but then again, he needs to question. We need to question his role as well, because he came up with a huge expectations. We spent around 48 to 53 million on
55
him,
million.
and yeah, and that's not a small amount for a club like Liverpool. We just cannot. We don't gamble with 50 million players. I mean, we don't even gamble with 15 million, 15 million players actually. So,
Ox
uh,
also didn't come cheap. 35 million is a lot of money.
35 million was not cheap. Yeah, yeah. But then again, I think it was just a Roma injury. Before that, he was just absolutely stunning. He was amazing for us. The Roma injury literally broke him. Then he came back. Then he played amazing games again, and then he had the injury again. So, it just you just feel for the guy actually. But then again, yes, you are also right that he has to step up. Injuries are not an excuse. You just do have to step up because see, the last player that we unfortunately had to sell apart from Danny Ings and Adam Lallana was Daniel Sturridge. And trust me, if it wasn't for injuries, he was a far better striker than Aguero or any other striker in the Premier
I
League.
wouldn't say Aguero, but yes, on his day, he is absolutely unplayable.
I really find him as a team player because with his passing, with his assist, and I you can go back to the SAS days and you can just point it out that how good he was basically, and that's the reason I said he is better than Aguero for me because it's not just about his finishing and the quality of finishing, it's also about the teamwork that he does. He is a selfish center forward, but at the same time, he also did a lot for us. So I just
See,
don't
let's
want
not
Alex
compare him to Aguero
Oxlade-Chamberlain to fall
because
into that category
let's
of
let's not compare
Lallana
him.
and the Sturridge.
Let's not. It's not right to compare a Sturridge to an Aguero because Aguero for me is still one of the best strikers in the world, even if he's
Okay.
a rival. And let's be honest about it, he really is. If you see his stats, he's probably the best striker in the Premier League right now.
Definitely,
And
and I think
yeah,
Aguero has
and
been overshadowed by Van Persie and other strikers as well before. When he came into City, I think he really he outshined. I think for the 4 to 5 years he was a constant scorer. He scored 20 plus goals in every season. So I highly appreciate Aguero. It's just that I find Sturridge a bit more of a complete player. And anyways, we're just talking about the injuries. Comparing him with injuries because to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain because Aguero hasn't been injured, that much to be honest.
no, he
So,
has been injured, but that's a
but
different matter.
that's just like just maybe a couple of instances, and that's about it. And most of the time, Guardiola doesn't play him, so that's another case at all. So, okay, so we have obviously covered the injuries as well, and we sincerely hope, it's just been 6 games, but we still, we just get players, coming back from injuries and not getting injured anymore.
No, it is high time they come back. I mean, now, if not now, then when? Because these are testing times. November fixtures are going to be difficult. December has always been difficult. So
Yeah.
fatigue will come in, and of course, we have to use the entire squad depth to the maximum. Uh, Atalanta, Man City, Spurs, these are difficult games, and we need our entire squad to actually come out and play.
Yeah, they are, and I think it's been, I think for the past 2 to 3 seasons, we have been stumbling around February as well. So I think that's a really important, time for us too. What concerns me is the current finances. I do feel while most of our fan base is quite happy with the signings, I do feel there's something going on in the background. I do feel that you know they are cost cuttings being planned. There are players who are the management has players in their mind who they want to sell out. So the squad depth is there in my mind. It's just all going through because um we need a center back for sure. We need another goalkeeper. And we need a good second goalkeeper. We do not have the patience or the time to for a youngster to step up. I think he can Kelleher or any other person can step up and he can be a good third keeper. But I do not find maybe in FA Cups. But for a good second keeper, I really do think that someone like
I'm
maybe
still surprised. I'm still surprised how we let go of Karius when Adrian is good. I still don't know about. I mean, that is one blunder I feel Klopp has done. Of course, Karius is not the best keeper to have, but as a
no,
second
he's
choice, he's way better than Adrian. Is
yeah, definitely. And the guy is modest. Karius is modest, and he has his hunger to learn as well. So I think I with the right attitude, I'm sure he makes his place in front of Adrian. I would have loved someone like Lucas Fabianski or Fraser Foster as a second keeper, and I think they bring a lot. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen because obviously they won't come in as a second keeper. So, talking about keepers now, Alisson is back, obviously, but we are we still keeping the same defensive shape, like a high defensive line?
see, when we have an Alisson, obviously that high line really doesn't matter because he's so good with the ball at his feet.
Yeah.
So he's good in his distribution. He can see the pass. He's overall probably one of the best keepers in the world. One of the best keepers in the world. Uh, of course, we cannot do that with Adrian because he's so brash in his decision making at times. So we just don't know. At times, we look at each other and say, "Please don't pass it to Adrian, no matter what." It's like having Adrian is like having 10 players on the pitch instead of having 11. That's how it is, unfortunately, and he's the reason for it. Let's be honest. He's not really put in a performance after that Atletico game where people can feel, and the Aston Villa game was the nail in the coffin. So yes, we struggle with the Highland when Adrian is there. We can somehow manage to play well with Alisson because we have some sort of command in the penalty box. When Alisson is there, he comes out to grab the ball. He grabs it well. He's good with his distribution. He has an eye for the pass, for the killer pass. Like even last season when we were playing Man United at home, it was Alisson who crossed field, had the crossfield ball across to Salah, who went on to score. Similarly, the year before that against Fulham, Salah scored that goal. So he has that eye for goal as well, where he can search for the attackers and pass it to them in the build-up. So Adrian unfortunately doesn't do that, and neither can he really. He also doesn't help his cause with regards to saving goals or be making the right decisions at the right time. Unfortunately.
No, I completely agree. In fact, I think it was 37 seconds into the Sheffield United game, and Alisson made that pass to Salah. I just, he just missed that opportunity. I think it was it was a tough call as well. It was a tough ball to take. So I completely get your point. I think his distribution is absolutely amazing. I think even someone like Edison has made, has improved his game based on Alisson. You could just see that how goalkeepers have been evolving, and Alisson leading them. So, okay, so you still have a very different center back pairing. You have Matip and Gomez, and in case if any of them gets injured, then you have Fabinho coming in with Matip or Gomez, either or. So it kind of very becomes difficult for someone like Alisson to um, to command the to command his own box, to command his own line, because when you have the same center back combination, you make the right calls, you make the right shouts at the goalkeeper's coming for the ball, or you are just kicking the ball away. So there's always a chance of miscommunication from that end. And given that we have center back, we don't have a prime center back, and he's going to be missing the whole season. You do feel that there will be teams who will be playing direct balls, like suppose like you said against West Ham. You can see Lanzini playing the long ball. You can see Mikel Antonio making that run because he has amazing plays and he can play multiple positions. He can play central, he can play on the wings, he can play as a center forward. So Antonio is an amazing player. I still can't believe he's still playing for West Ham, but it's going to be quite a difficult game for us. So having that defensive high line, it kind of makes us very vulnerable. And against even against teams like Ajax and Atlanta, against teams like Manchester City, teams who press, teams who are not vulnerable, who believe in themselves, who are hardworking, and who have a lot of pace, have a lot of youngsters in them. So it kind of becomes very difficult for us. And again, I'm referring to the game which we have recently won against Leeds. It was completely pressing game. It was they were pressing, we were pressing, and they were just playing. They were going around the wings. They were playing direct balls as well. So they were kind of mixing it up from our end, and we were not able to understand how which direction is the game going or what their strategy was, because it was all over the place. So that for me is a concern. And I think Virgil van Dijk was also criticized during the Aston Villa game. I'm sorry, I have to come back to that because there are a lot of people who were saying that when Van Dijk was the captain, he could have just asked the defenders to come back, maybe secure, not allow any more goals, and then you can just play from the back. So do you think that we should be more conservative with our defensive approach and not just go on all out attack, knowing that West Ham, like you said, teams like West Ham will park the bus and go on a counter.
See, it's easier for us to sit over here and pass judgments about what they should have done. But from what I saw in that Aston Villa game, I think there were certain moments in the game where we need to control certain elements. You cannot be on the front foot for the entire 90 minutes. Even if you're Liverpool, even if you're Man City, there are certain times in the game when you will be on the back foot. So it is how you handle those certain situations. Now, when you have a game where you have three deflected goals, you cannot do much about it. Of course, I don't want to go back to the penalty issue. I don't want to go back to VAR again because there were two moments I feel that could have. I feel had we got a penalty, the game could have been a little different, and that offside, if it was called for offside for the fourth or fifth goal for Aston Villa, it could have changed somewhat because we had scored a second. So I think during certain times of these games, it's all about how you manage those certain moments. If you come through a barrage of attacks and you come out unscathed when you don't concede, even if you're conceding corners but you're not conceding goals, and you see that phase out, then you slowly and steadily go ahead and attack. So what happens is you're controlling certain elements of the game where you're not allowing them to have complete dominance. Unfortunately, that day we were having an off day and Villa were probably having the best game of their entire lives. It was just a bad day at the office for us. So I don't want to dwell too much on the Aston Villa performance. Yes, the Everton game, definitely it was there to be won. It was won and it was taken away from us. It was all about how you control certain elements of the game, and it's not just about what he should have done, what he should have done. Van
But
Dijk
we
also
did,
did a game.
but we did actually. So the reason I said no, the reason I want to talk about the defensive line, not because a couple of people on Twitter are going nuts about it. It's basically because when Klopp joined Liverpool, when we started playing, the high press football, when Salah came in, there were some issues. We were letting in a lot of goals in. It was not because of we had a defense of Lovren or Klavan, and not Virgil van Dijk, but it was because that we were, providing a lot of space, for balls to be played over our defenders and people chasing them. So the issue basically was that the game management basically we weren't trying enough to slow the pace down when the opposition has the advantage and they have most of the possession for say like 5 or 10 minutes. We were not pressing them enough. We were not slowing the pace down. We were not dragging them into the corner to get maybe a free throw or a free kick, something like that, because I think that's something that we don't do. But that's fair enough. So I do feel like that's something that should be our plan B, just to slow the game pace down. It's not just about the defensive line. There's so many elements in a game. So I do feel like that's the way that we have to go back to, because when you talk about the 18-19 season, the one of the reasons that we let in not many goals during that season, it's not just because of Van Dijk, is because also of our approach. For the first around 40 to 45 minutes, I think, not first 45 minutes actually, for the first say 7 to 10 minutes, we used to press high. We played long balls, direct balls. We went all out attacking. But for the rest of the half, till the 45th minute, we kind of slowed the pace down. We read the opponents. We saw, what they were trying and how we can break them. So it was more of an analyzing. We used to analyze the opponent in the first half and then go at them in the second half, and that made us very, very lethal in the 18-19 and even the 19-20 season. So that's what I'm talking about. Maybe we can go back to the old ways and we can just be very productive by just doing what we did best, rather than going all out with half of our team injured.
Well, this season, looking at the way we've conceded goals, there are two things we need to look at. Trent has been awful at right back with regards to being defensively sound. He's good as with regards to being the link to creating something, but defensively he's been absolutely awful this season. You look at the game against Leeds, he was the one who was the prime reason we conceded 2 goals from the right hand flank. Then you look at the games against some of the other opposition. The Villa game was obviously there. Even against Everton, he did nothing to contain Lucas Digne. Lucas Digne had a free run to cross into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He should have done better there in those moments. So, and of course, with Fabinho playing at centre back now, we obviously are losing somebody of his caliber in midfield to draw in those fouls, to contain certain moments of play. So this is what I mean by passage of play. You need to control certain movements in the game where, once you start controlling and dictating these elements of play in the game, then you slowly start to take control of the game of that midfield, then in attack, then in defense. With Van Dijk, he used to win almost everything in the air. With Trent at times, even though Trent was found wanting, Van Dijk was there to cover for him, or Gomez was there to cover for him. Robo does that. Robo presses back and he puts in some sort of pressure on to the right back of the opposition or the right winger of the opposition. Trent, unfortunately, does not really do that. And I've been saying this from the start of the season. People haven't been really looking at it, but Trent needs to be called out for his defensive duties. He's been awful this season for defensive duties. Even offensive wise, he's not really offered much, be it the dead ball situation, be it his crossing abilities. He's one of the best in the world for what he does. But unfortunately, it's not really click for him. It could be fitness issues. It could be lack of preseason. It could be maybe a confidence thing. But these are the elements that we need to control. If we address these situations, I'm sure we can go and win games more comfortably than we are actually doing.
So coming back to the Trent topic, do you think that it's not just Trent, because do you think that Trent also needs someone to back him up during with his position? Because like when Andy Robertson is attacking, you have Sadio Mane in and around him, right? So they connect, both of them connect. When they're defending, you have James Milner coming in whenever he's playing. Is either James Milner for Robertson, or you have Gini Wijnaldum also covering up for Robertson. So if you remember in the last game against Sheffield, Robertson was out of his line. He just went on attacking, and there was a huge gap left on the left hand side, and you had Gini Wijnaldum covering it up. So that was an amazing. So that's the off the ball,
No, but that
brilliance.
happens. So I think, of course, initially at the start, Henderson was injured, but we have Henderson covering for him. We have Joe Gomez covering whenever Trent pushes up front. So it's not like he doesn't have cover. It's just that when he pushes ahead and he loses the ball, or if he commits a mistake, he doesn't do enough to contain them. I'm not saying win the tackle. I'm not saying go ahead and do a Van Dijk, but put pressure on the attacker so he does not allow him to cross in from that flank, which gives the forwards up front a direct header or creates a chance for the opposition to score a goal. Put some pressure on the attackers on the wings, which probably could avoid another attack or create a chance at goal for the opposition. He needs to do that. He needs to improve that in his game. He need not win a tackle, but at least put some pressure, make your presence felt, like what a Robo does. You need not win a tackle. Make yourself, be available there defensively, so that, like, if you've seen the Demia cross for the Everton goal, Trent was nowhere. The first game against Leeds, Harrison or whatever his name is, he cuts into Trent as if he's not there. So these are moments where he could improve, and that could really make a big difference for us.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I think you have a fair point actually, because he has been gone missing from his defensive duties a lot of time. And yes, you're absolutely right about Andy Robertson as well. And to be honest, Andy Robertson had two very poor games, before this season, and he improved. And he just came back from the Burnley game. I think it was a 1-1 game. Yeah, it's all about the attitude. Yeah, exactly.
You look at Robo in the Arsenal game. He committed that mistake, and he had the desire to go and score that goal. That is what I'm talking about. That is why I'm saying Robo has had a better season compared to Trent this year because of his attitude and desire. If Trent shows even half of that, he is really going to be something in the season, is what I feel.
True. Yes, I do certainly feel that. I think Trent has to step up his game defensively as well, because there are a lot of loopholes, there are a lot of gaps actually that he leaves when he goes forward, and he has to track back. And it's not, again, you're right, it's not about just tackling and winning the tackle. It's also about closing down the players and just making them take time and making them pass the ball maybe back to their defenders or even their keeper. So that our defensive line has the time to just go back to their own half and just go with the formation. So yeah, I completely agree. I think these are certain loopholes that we still have in our defense. Thankfully, we are not talking much about the midfield at the moment, and it's a rare thing that we are talking about midfield.
There's one more thing I'd like to add with Trent. See, what he has over other right backs is his incredible ability on the dead ball and his crossing.
True.
Right?
The shot he took against Sheffield, and it is almost,
so he has that in his locker, right? He has that in his ability.
Yeah.
He can just stay there and spray crosses from wherever he wants, like a De Bruyne or a Gerrard. Right? Anytime. He has that in him. So why should he actually push forward and be found wanting in that area which leaves him exposed to leave Gomez one-on-one with 2 or 3 attackers alone?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So he could probably, of course, it's easier said than done because they are playing at the highest level. But this is what I have observed, that he leaves a lot of spaces to be covered for the attackers, because one long ball and the right long ball to the attacker will leave him exposed, and that could create a chance for the opposition at goal. Why not just stay there, play your long balls? You can avoid the press. Even Arteta mentioned that in his press that, somebody like a Van Dijk, you start pressing them. He plays the long ball directly to Salah or Mane. The entire press is nullified for the opposition.
Exactly.
You do the same thing at right back, right? You can switch play to Robo. You can play your crossfield balls to maybe Mane or Salah. You can look for your front men with the ability that a Trent has, which is a gift. Not many right backs have that. When you have that ability, probably look at that.
Yeah, so we haven't seen a lot of Trent to Robertson crosses this season, right? I mean, compared to last season, there was like
There have been quite
plenty.
a few. There have been a few, but I feel this is what he could improve in his defensive side. See, when we play a high line, we need to make sure that our positioning is perfect to play the offside trap or to make sure that we don't get found out.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not a good footballer at all, but I understand what football is about. So what I mean to say is, if you're playing a high line with the ability that Trent has, with the offside trap that we play to perfection with Van Dijk being there, unfortunately now that he's not there, Trent needs to offer himself more, right, defensively. Now that we know that Van Dijk is not there, it is going to be a team effort to effectively make sure that we don't concede a lot of goals. So a lot of work ethic is going to go into it. A lot of work rate needs to be put into it. Containment of players needs to be happening a lot more. So Trent needs to moderate his game into such a way that, okay, I know I'm good at attacking. I know I'm going to take set pieces. I know I'm going to take corners. But right now my team needs me defensively in good positions. So I should not be exposing my centre backs by me pushing up front when Salah is already there.
Yeah, exactly, right? And I think that's very important because the opposition are always threat with the set pieces and the dead ball, because we're obviously always zonal marketing at the corners and during the crosses as well. So we don't have the presence of Van Dijk right in the middle. So even if you are having a defense of, say, Gomez and Fabinho, it becomes quite difficult for us to get rid of the ball, because I mean, Gomez is not tall enough. Fabinho is a good defender, but then again, if there's someone like Edison Cavani,
Gomez is tall. Gomez is a good centre back, and he has the right abilities to be a centre back, a good one. He's probably England's best centre back given the situation.
Yeah,
but it's a different. Currently,
but I'm saying, like, in case if he comes along, someone like again Calvert-Lewin or say Edison Cavani, or Lacazette. So it's not just about the height, basically. It's also about the strength and the willingness to make that jump and to
get the ball. If you look at the Calvert-Lewin goal, let me come back to it, because since we're talking about the defense, Trent obviously didn't do his job of marking Dinia. He crossed in. Robo should have stuck tighter to Calvert-Lewin. Unfortunately, he wasn't. You just shift him a little bit, he's not going to be able to take his header cleanly. Yeah. Of course, Adrian, even Alisson would not have been able to save that, because the perfection on the header was too good from Calvert-Lewin. Robo should have stuck tighter to Calvert-Lewin, been a menace, made sure he just puts him off so that he's not able to take his header. So this is what I'm talking about. These are certain moments of the game where we need to do more. Even for the first goal where Keane scored, I think Fabinho should have stuck tighter to him. He didn't, and that happened. So
yeah, and I think that was a very clear header. He made the header look like it was quite easy, because there were no one who was covering him, covering him, or I think no one jumped for that ball, right? I didn't see anyone who jumped as high as Calvert-Lewin as well.
Fabinho unfortunately was behind Keane, but what he should have done is he could have just been a menace for him, been in front of him, or just done enough to push him off to take a clean header.
Yeah, he just made it look easy, actually. So it was.
And of course, I mean, that header, even though it was on target, it was savable from Adrian, and the lesser we talk about him, the better.
Okay, let's not go back to the GK topic now. So I think we have covered like a lot of topics. We have talked about Liverpool signings. We have talked about season so far. We have talked about Liverpool fixtures coming up. We'll talk about centre backs, the goalkeeper situation, the injuries, the height, the defensive line, and we talked about our defense as well. We'll talk about VAR. So now let's just conclude this conversation with a final topic. Merseyside on top. So you have Everton on top of the league currently, like is kind of weird, but yeah, that's the truth. You have Liverpool in second. Do you think that there's a kind of rise in the Merseyside and the Manchesters have a really good competition coming up?
It's too early to say that because Man City is still one of the best teams out there to challenge us and us to them, obviously. So it's a two-way thing. Is it the rise of Merseyside? It's good for Merseyside football per se, but it's still too premature to say that yes, it is time that Everton are also on top and Liverpool being on top. It's a good phase. It's just like what Leicester were going through last season or what Aston Villa were going through till the time they played Leeds. Right? They were looking unstoppable at times.
Yeah.
So Everton were having a good spell. Now that they lost, maybe they also lost a few players because of Richarlison being sent off, Dinia being sent off, and so on.
Yeah.
But eventually, the wheels will come off Everton because they're Everton. Eventually, they're blue sides, right?
you just you had to make that comment, right? No, absolutely, absolutely.
You're never really a Liverpool fan if you're going to be complimenting Everton all the time. I mean, fair play to them for what they've tried to do, but blue shites are blue shites, unfortunately.
Yeah, of course. Now, all day long, it kind of surprising actually. When we saw that, they were talking about, going all in with. They were proud of obviously, the James Rodriguez and the signing of the hype they had, with him coming in, and obviously Richarlison is a good player, that is for sure, and he has a good quality. Calvert-Lewin also shining this season, and I think the main difference maker is Carlo Ancelotti. So he has been quite the motivation for them as well. I really hope that Klopp got his away win at against an Ancelotti team. Unfortunately, that just didn't happen. But yeah, it's quite exciting, right? I mean, I'm sure finally Everton fans after decades they can cheer for something apart from a Liverpool draw. So I think they have something to cheer up for themselves, that they have done something, even if it's for the shortest of time. I don't think they're gonna be top of the season post maybe 9 or 10 games. I think this honeymoon period is gonna end, because this honeymoon period we have seen from a lot of clubs. Yeah, exactly. I don't think they'll last till December as well. I think it's gonna be another Ole kind of a season like Solskjaer had when he last year Solskjaer had, after signing Bruno Fernandes, or after beating PSG and all. So that's just how it is. Frank Lampard also started pretty brightly last season, and then he just fell through. Leicester City also started, so I think they are more complete teams than Everton at the moment. So yeah, they have a lot of things to do. So there's a reason why they haven't won anything for years now, and there's a very very valid reason for that. We are out of the Carabao Cup. We are still there in UCL. We are still there in the Premier League. Yeah, for one season.
I don't see
this was one season where I wanted to be serious about Carabao Cup. I'll be very honest with you. I do not care about the FA Cup.
Paramveer, tell me one thing. In a regular season with fans, with everything, without Corona and all that also, even if we win the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, what is the total prize money that we win?
Okay, let's not talk about the prize money. It's not about the prize money. Just
see, listen, as value as these cups, would you prefer winning the Champions League or would you prefer winning these two cups?
No, obviously, Champions League all day. There is no second to a Champions League.
I'll tell you something. You play 13 games in the Champions League to win against top quality opposition. You play about 20 games in the FA Cup and the League Cup to win these two cups, and you barely get for 3 or 4 million as prize money. Is that even enough to cover somebody's wages? No,
I think it's 500,000 for a Carabao Cup. I think
whatever it is not enough, right? It is not good enough to cover a wages of a very good top team.
No,
let alone Manchester. Even it won't even cover Man City's academy's wages for that matter.
Yeah, true.
Right.
I think it is going to cover Alexis Sanchez's wages at Manchester United.
See, unfortunately, when teams like City and Chelsea come in, this is what happens. When you outspend the actual market, the value of these cup competitions go down.
True.
Right. So that is what has happened. So even if they have the squad to win the FA Cup, of course it's a cup, it's a trophy. But it's all about prioritizing what you want more. I want the Premier League, I want the Champions League more. I'm okay with us not winning the FA Cup. I'm definitely okay with us not winning the League Cup. Why should we risk playing our first teamers in a rather needless cup trophy, which is not really going to be of a lot of significance to us.
True,
I know
that too
people
in a
say it's a
season which is
trophy at the end of the day.
yeah, that too in a
People will
hectic
say
season.
people are going to say at the end of the day, it's a trophy. We need to win. I'm happy winning 2 trophies a season. Add to that the Super Cup. Add to that the Club World Cup. That's 4 trophies a season. I'm completely okay winning that. Give me that all every year. I'll be very happy doing that.
Yeah, and for the Arsenal and City fans who are watching this, please note we never mentioned the Community Shield because, to be honest, we don't consider it a trophy.
Yeah, it was never a trophy.
It was
Even if
never a
we had won it,
trophy.
I would never consider it a trophy. I
Yeah,
mean, some
exactly.
Man City fans do that, but I don't want to talk about it.
I mean, let's just give them what they crave for. So let's just do that. That's perfectly fine. Because you guys can enjoy your Community Shield or I mean whatever that is. So I think we are good with our
I'm really
Champions League
excited
trophies.
actually. I don't know. I'm tensed about the upcoming fixtures, but I'm also excited at the same time because these are the times where see what happens is people say, "Oh, you got Van Dijk. Oh, now you can do what you want because you have the best players." Now the actual response is if we go and win trophies without Van Dijk this season, it is a real
Yeah.
testament. It will be even sweeter than what we did last year.
Yeah, it will be amazing. When we signed Thiago Alcantara, I was like, you know what, this is it, Invincibles. It's just coming in for us, and
For
just
me
didn't
this
happen,
season,
unfortunately.
Alisson is going to be our Van Dijk.
Yeah,
Trust me.
yeah,
Because
Alisson has to.
unfortunately, he never got the right amount of credit because Van Dijk was in front of him. But now with Alisson being there, he's equally as important as what Van Dijk is in given the situation and the position.
True, true. No, absolutely. I think Alisson is gonna come out and shine. I think some people do call him that he's very he's not good in terms of saving penalties. He did save one although recently. So I think
See,
that's
penalties is always a hit and miss. Unfortunately,
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
always
It's a
that.
50-50. It's a
Mignolet was a shit
50-50.
keeper, but he was brilliant in penalties.
Mignolet
What
was
would you have?
amazing in penalties.
What would you have more? A better all-round goalkeeper who
Yeah,
once in a
obviously
way
we'll
can
rather
save a
have a
penalty, or
goalkeeper
you
who
only
gives
want
in.
somebody who saves penalties.
Yeah, we'll
Adrian is a
obviously
good
want a
shot stopper,
goalkeeper who
by the
gives
way.
8.5 out of 10 every single game rather than a keeper who
Adrian is
plays
a
like three
better
good games
penalty
in
saver
38.
than Alisson is. But I would
Yeah,
definitely have Alisson over him, right?
yeah,
Because he's a
definitely.
better keeper. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
it is.
definitely. And I think when talk about penalty savers, I think there's only, uh, I think Caballero, apart from him, I think it's just Casper Schmeichel in the Premier League right now, who's a really good penalty saver, and that's it. I think yeah, I do follow Casper Schmeichel, so I've been a huge fan of
I think
his. So
Bird Leno is an excellent keeper too.
yeah, definitely.
Bird Leno
So
is an excellent keeper. To all
yeah,
the Arsenal fans who thought we were taking a jab at them, I'm very open as a fan. I'm sorry for that. I'm a true supporter.
okay. Yeah,
See, that's what happens
that's
when you mention Arsenal. You just fall off.
yeah, that's
What
just how
started
it
off as
is.
a promising note is always follows. Just an Arsenal thing to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, and okay,
Yeah, coming
yeah,
back to
and I'm completely out of words when you talk about Arsenal because it's just, I'm like, I have no idea what's happening with them. I have no idea how they got those couple of wins against us. Maybe 3 wins now, I guess. And it's just that, okay, I'm not bothered about it anymore. And like, I just don't care if it's a competition, this is a Carabao Cup or it's any other cup. It's like, guys,
let's be
it's
honest, they
okay.
were not
It's
better
okay.
than us. They were not
Huh?
better than us.
They were not
Every
they were
time,
not even in the game. They were not even in
listen,
the game.
listen. I know Arsenal fans and I know how they can go overboard with a win is a win at the end of the day. Fair enough. No problem
Yeah,
with that.
true.
Okay. But the goals that we conceded were through our own errors. It was not like you guys played a worldie or you guys deserved the win. Absolutely not.
No, yeah,
It was
no, I think,
entirely down to us, and that is what
yeah,
actually frustrates me. That Arsenal were not better, we were better, and still we lost. Okay, I mean, to each his own.
yeah. I mean, see, it's been a lot of games that we have played better and we have lost or we drew the game. So I think it's not the first time, but definitely, losing a game because of your own errors. Like when we talk about the first Arsenal game that we played during the after the lockdown, that was
Atletico
Van
game sums
Dijk.
it up.
Yeah, Van Dijk and Alisson error. Then the second game we lost was on again penalties, and third game again on penalties. So it's not that we lost the game in terms of that we were played the second best team on the pitch. To be honest, we were not second best team we were the best team in the possession, shots taken, shots on target. Even on yellow cards, I think we were probably the best team. We had the least yellow cards in a game. So you can compare it all. At the end of the day, obviously, it just matters what the final score line is. So I'm not pretty much asked about Arsenal. I think that's one of the reasons that we haven't mentioned Arsenal in the whole conversation today, and we're just wrapping
So
them
it's
up
not
at
necessary
at
to
the very
mention
end.
Arsenal or any other club because we are talking about Liverpool anyway. So it doesn't really matter whether we are
Yeah,
talking about.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. But then again, it's a seesaw of a season. So obviously, I sincerely hope that we're not talking about Arsenal, but our players
I'm
should
sick of playing Arsenal.
definitely
Trust me,
take seriously.
it's become boring playing Arsenal now. No,
Yeah,
even if we had won all of those games, I would still say it's so boring to play Arsenal right now.
it is. It is right. It's just that you just numb. Like you don't have
So
reaction
there
to
was
them.
this time. There was this time in when Rafa Benitez was our manager, and we
Yeah.
played Chelsea back to back almost every year in the Champions League and the cups, and it became so boring. I mean, of course, the two teams came to know about each other's weaknesses and strengths, but eventually it became boring over a period of time. We needed new competition, we needed new teams to play, but we ended up facing each other at least 3 or 4 times every year. So that became boring at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, you can definitely. I think you can say that. With Arsenal, I think it's a completely different thing. They are just. I think it's more about the social media nowadays. That's the more irritating than the team itself. The social media fans basically.
It's
Anyways,
always
no, let's not talk about Arsenal in our podcast. I think we are done. They get the max they get was 3 minutes from us. So I think we are pretty much happy. Like even if it's seesaw of a season, the tables are going very, very. The tables are really nuts right at the moment. So I think we'll get more clarity on who's dominating and who's going to win the title around
I
December.
still feel Liverpool and Man City will definitely be the
Yeah, yeah,
better
of course,
teams going
of
down the
course.
season. But I would not discount Chelsea or Spurs going into the season because they still have enough quality. Chelsea especially still has a lot of individual players who can turn up at any time. Of course, they're not at the best of forms, but considering the season is so unpredictable, we just don't know who could have a good run of games and just suddenly come on top. So it's very
Exactly.
difficult to call it.
Exactly, and I think I think whosoever has a fully fit squad and less injuries is the winner of this particular season. I think that's about it. That's all I can say
Yeah.
because that's how the season is being shaped up. That's how things are going on at the moment. So, I mean, I hope I'm right, right? I hope you agree with me in this case because until unless you have your prime players available in the starting lineup, you cannot go and challenge for a title, irrespective of how crazy the season has been. You still have to, you still have to score goals. You have to still get those 3 points, and for me, that's how it is. So I sincerely hope
See,
that
till the
Liverpool.
Jan window, till the
Yeah,
Jan window, if we are still somewhere close, say a point or two close to the table or at the top, or if we are at the top till the Jan window, and if by then we have qualified for the group stages of the Champions League, say maybe by two games in hand or one game in hand, then we really have a good chance of you get a good centre back, and our season really is a promising one going down the line. You get a good centre back in Jan, irrespective of who we play in the Champions League, our focus should always be to win games. Get a good centre
true.
back if you're in and around the top spots in the Champions League, in the league itself, then we generally have a good chance. You don't know what could happen at the end of the season. We really could go all the way also.
Yeah, yeah. I sincerely hope that. Unfortunately, we won't be competing for invincibility this season, but we definitely can.
Doesn't matter. For me, trophies matter over records.
Yeah,
Trust
yeah.
me, these things are all in the book. If
Yeah,
it's
we've
all
just
about
we
being
just been
30-year-old social
we've
media
just been
guy,
so close for the past couple of seasons, no. So that's why I just wanted to, get the tag out
given
for
the
us as well.
situation, it's next to impossible that
Yeah,
even a
yeah,
great Barcelona or a Real Madrid team cannot go and even in a league like La Liga they cannot go and win all their games,
yeah,
let alone the Premier
exactly.
League.
Yeah, even when Arsenal won, they got 12 draws, so that's perfectly fine. I think that's they
Doesn't
just got
matter.
it. They just got it. Yeah,
For
that.
me, winning the Champions League and Premier League is more important than
Yeah,
going
right now
36
the focus
games
has
and
to be that because
getting that.
given the kind of fixtures, I really think that Klopp has to prioritize. I think if we prioritize UCL, we get Bayern Munich or not doesn't matter. If we prioritize UCL, I'm pretty sure we're getting it. Because Premier League is
I
going to
would
be quite
prefer
hectic.
playing these teams. I would prefer playing Bayern Munich. I prefer playing Real Madrid. I
Yeah,
prefer playing Barcelona.
Yeah.
Unless and until we test ourselves against these teams, see, at max what could happen?
We'll
We
lose a
could
game.
lose,
What else?
we could win also. The
Yeah.
same mentality we had 2 years back when we got Bayern Munich in the round of 16. They were still a
Yeah.
good team. They were still a good team with all the quality players still there. Maybe
You
one
still
or two
remember
players missed
when
out.
how the Bayern Munich owners reacted when they drew us? That fear
Yeah,
when
but the
they
only
had.
advantage maybe we had was they didn't have Robin and Muller available for those games. It would have
True.
been a big difference if they were available.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course,
But Robertson,
Lewandowski played, Ribery played, Coman
Ribery,
played,
yeah.
Gnabry played. So they had a good squad then too. Thiago
Yes,
played, of
yes.
course. But of course, when you have a fully fit team like they have right now, it makes a big difference. They're a
Of
different
course it.
animal right now to what we played them 2 years back.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we too have we too have improved a bit. We too have a better midfield compared to what we had a couple of years back. So we have their own players. So we have a good team. It's going to be a good competition. All right. So I think that sums it up. If you like to add something from your own end, I think because we have discussed every single thing that's possible,
I don't
every
think
single
there's
thing that
anything
has
left to
happened post
discuss.
lockdown actually.
I don't think there's anything left to discuss.
All right, guys, thanks for watching KOP Fusion. That's Salil for you from Mumbai. And thank you, Salil, for joining us and giving your, mindful experience about Liverpool and the Premier League to us.
Thank you so much, Param. I hope to see you again soon and discuss good stuff with you.
Yeah, same here, man. Same here. Just
And
stay
hoping
tuned,
that
guys. We have the
Liverpool
next.
really do well this season and all on all fronts.
Yeah,
Fingers crossed that we go and do everything possible to win everything.
yeah, definitely. We just want to win. We have an amazing team, and obviously we want to do that. So stay tuned, guys. We'll be back with another episode with Salil soon.